So tell me a little bit about your business.
So my business is fresh. It is just coming off the ground. It's a little baby that I have birthed. It is something that has been a passion of mine, being a nurse for 20 years. I have just wanted to kind of venture out on my own and kind of do something different in terms of educating people more about their body. And I found a school, the FDN school that I went to, kind of came out of COVID, wanting to learn more. I pushed through that. It was really, really tough being a mom and a nursing supervisor and working through COVID. But I really fell in love with it and felt the need to push through and kind of go out on my own and really help people educate themselves about kind of taking their health back into their own hands.
So what type of nurse were you, and then what's the actual business?
So I'm a pediatric nurse, which I'm continuing to work there as now, but the business is called Mindful Empowered Wellness, and I am now a Functional Diagnostic Nutrition practitioner. And so the business is being able to kind of do functional lab testing, help people to kind of get to the root cause of what's going on in their body.
Now, what type of people come to you? What do they usually feel, see, are told?
So it's kind of there's not really an ideal client because I can kind of work with anybody. I can work with kids. Certain testing for the kids would be different than what I would do with an adult. But that ideal client is somebody who has gone to the doctor over and over and over, and they're just treating their symptom, and they treat that symptom and another symptom happens. Mm-hmm. And so it's this cycle of trial and error, and I'm ready to help them end that. Looking at, with this approach, people will come to you and say, I have this symptom and this symptom. And what I will do is look at a 30,000-foot view with these 5 functional lab tests. And with their clinical correlation, we'll tell them, okay, based off of what you're feeling and what your lab tests are showing us, let's put together a plan based, it's called a DRESS protocol. Mm-hmm. So we're working on your diet, your rest, your exercise, your stress reduction, and then supplementation. And then collectively, we will go through all of that and kind of get you back to your optimal health.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because they're such simple things, you would think.
You would think. And it's interesting. So going through the schooling, I was able to do the testing on my own self. And I considered myself, my husband and I were athletes. We were in the gym. I ate healthy. I did the testing on myself, and it was eye-opening. I was basically, stress was the root cause of all of my issues, but I was kind of overusing exercise in turn and really doing internal damage on my body. And so I had to back off of that, looking at the food sensitivities testing part that I always had some stomach issues, gut issues. And when I tested for it, I was well, this is eye-opening because all of the foods I eat, I'm actually sensitive to. Not allergic, but sensitive. Yeah. So the protocol for that is you remove those foods for 90 days, you kind of heal your gut, and then you can slowly introduce them back in. But it gives you the empowerment to kind of feel how your body reacts once you have removed a stressor, and then you input it back in, and you're now I feel bloated, or, I have a headache. Why is this happening? And you can kind of use that, as a guide.
That's so cool, though, because you would never know that without those testing,
right.
Without those tests.
It's interesting, too, to kind of see the other reason I have a passion for it is my husband was diagnosed with MS 11 years ago and rocked our world. At that age, at that time, we only had 2 boys. And like I said, we were athletes, avid gym goers, and it kind of just knocked us out. So we looked at a lot of things, not knowing a whole lot. It took us 2 years to get the diagnosis. We did a couple different treatments. There is no cure for MS, but we thought, let's see if we can't kind of regain, some things that we have lost. And within that, there came a lot of side effects. And so he ultimately, we talked about it, but he was just like, this isn't worth it. I have now more things on top of the MS than what I had before. So I started digging, my background. I'm like, let's see what else we can do. And there's a lot that you can do by your diet and your lifestyle.
So when he was having those the additional challenges, is that from
the medications?
I was going to say,
we did a couple,
doctors.
oral medications, and then that wasn't changing anything. So it's like, let's try. So this is where the cycles go. Okay, we've tried one thing, this isn't working. We tried an infusion for a year, and that we were like, okay, this is not going to help. Yeah. So after that, he decided, I'm not going to do anything. Let's see kind of how it goes. And he has been, our youngest will be 7 in 2 weeks, and he has not had a treatment since the day he was born. So 7 years. And it's wild. Just we're still battling things, but by changing our diet and our lifestyle and kind of what we do and try to lessen the stress, it just kind of goes to show that there's a reason and a need for medicine, but at the same time, we can kind of control a lot of things too if we kind of work on it. And so that's what my business is what I'm wanting it to be. I want to be able to educate and empower somebody to say, you know your body. Let's help you to feel all of these things. And with certain functional lab testing, you can kind of pinpoint some things that maybe Western medicine doesn't look at necessarily. And it's different. And it's the functional medicine, I think, in the world that we're in now is slowly starting to kind of come in. My hope is within the years, Western medicine and functional medicine can kind of collaborate. Because I think it's important, for both things, but it's still in those stages.
And that doesn't make sense why they don't collaborate now. Why do you think we're not already there?
It's hard to say. I think for Western medicine, there's a lot of the insurance holds a lot. The insurance gives us guidelines. So in my business or my job currently, there's certain things that we have to do and we have to follow certain guidelines. In the functional space, you and the client are working more together to kind of say, this really isn't working for me. Let's look at something else. Let's try and do this in a natural way. What, natural remedies or things can we work with versus you go to the doctor, you have a 15-minute appointment. You go in with a sore throat, you have strep, here's your antibiotic, and out the door you go. But, if it wasn't that simple, and you go back in for, let's just say you have chronic constipation. That's a big one. And I learned throughout this study, that plays a factor in a lot of your systems. It plays a factor in your hormones. It plays in your immune system, your digestive tract, your detoxification pathways. All of that was eye-opening to me. I did not know that symptom could mess up all of those systems in our body. So it was just it really opened my eyes in a different light. And so now when I go in and I'm working with kids and people and they'll say stuff, I'm like, oh, well, I think I would want to look at this. But, in the Western medicine world, I'm like, I have to revert. I have to kind of hold back. Yeah. So I'm just ready to kind of take off. I'm looking for people who are really wanting to look for the root cause and kind of help them to kind of get their bodies back to optimal health, basically.
Yeah, I say the same thing to Emily. I'm obviously not in the medical field. I don't practice in the medical field, but I believe the reason why is, like you said, in terms of the insurance, but then also it's all based off of the medications and the surgeries. That's where that side, the Western medicine makes their money, is through all those methods. Whereas, this other side is more of, Eastern, I guess, medicine is more holistic and supplements and stretching and adjustments and yoga and just things that aren't necessarily as easy to monetize in the ways that a back surgery or
and it is
medication.
And sometimes you can look at it as, when I started doing the school and doing the testing on myself and was totally like, whoa, what do I have going on here? And then I met Emily and working with a chiropractor. When you start to get into the same like atmosphere almost, like when you're around those people, everything else makes sense. You're like, you start to feel like, I know my body now. And like, if I'm doing a yoga stretch, I'm like, ooh, I feel like I'm misaligned or something like that.
Yeah.
And you go to the chiropractor and you tell them, they're listening. They hear what you say and they're like, yep. They're kind of, what's the word? Validating.
You guys all speak the same language.
Yes. And they're, but it's validating.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm being heard. Like I'm not crazy. I really do feel like this. And so it's just, that's a big part of my job too. I feel like I want those people to feel that they're being heard, not just in an office for a quick visit and out the door you go. And it's different, you know, it is, certain cases, you know, where I work, we have, you know, I work with a lot of families that have, you know, just genetic issues and things like that. So it's a little more complicated and we do spend the time with them. But the average person, you know, the adult that goes in for, you know, the high cholesterol and the blood pressure and all of these things, and they're just given a pill and it's like, well, let's look at your diet. What are you eating? That's how we can work this, which is hard because nowadays I feel like our world is like, we want
Pop a
quick
pill.
fix.
That's right.
Like,
The surgery and the pill.
Yep, let's give
quick.
it. But we have one life.
Yeah.
We are only given one life. And I want to help those live it to their fullest. I want them to be able to feel their best, you know, if you have kids, you know, you want to be at all the ball games, you want to be throwing the ball with them or shooting hoops or whatever the case may be, playing with your grandkids, not feeling awful when you get up from the floor, you know, those types of things. So that is my passion for this business. I'm just ready to kind of, you know, work together with person, meet them where they are, but take them to the next level that I know that they can go to.
I love that. Now, how are you going to do it? What's your marketing plan look like?
So, being a whole newbie at all of this, I have a social media page, Facebook and Instagram. I have gone out to the communities, the offices that are nearby, given business cards. I actually just printed up flyers that I'm going to go drop off. I live in this little town, Hamilton, and so we have a little mercantile store. So I dropped off things there. Just kind of like referral base, working with, you know, the chiropractors. We have some local gyms and CrossFit things out there, yoga studios, just trying to kind of, again, be in the same space and just hopefully get referrals from those people.
I love that. Have you considered doing like Facebook videos, Facebook Lives, talking about specific...
I have not thought about that because
elements?
I'm very...
That would be great because people want to get to know the person that they're working with. They want to hear the sincerity. They want to hear the story, the why. They also want to hear, like, example, if you're having migraines, if you specifically do a, like, you know, I would love for you to test it for 8 weeks. Do a Facebook Live once a week, and each week you're going to pick a specific topic to talk on. And don't look for any specific results. Just say, I'm going to do this for the next 2 months.
And kind of
see what happens from it. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. Just your time and energy and talking yourself into doing it. And then just each week pick a topic that you see a lot of, you know, patients that come in. But then if they're like, oh my gosh, I'm having migraines too. She just spoke about migraines. I also went to the doctor and I've just been on pills every time a migraine hits. Then they're going to be more apt to, you know.
It'll resonate with somebody.
It'll resonate, exactly.
That's a good idea.
That might be something you want to
look into. I can certainly look into that.
Now, do you have a actual brick and mortar?
I do. So I actually just got office space. It's part-time now because I'm still currently working, but it is in Hamilton. Or no, it's in Percival. Actually, it's adjacent to Dr. Quinn's office.
Oh, is it? Is it right there across?
It's not. It's so there. She's in the last building, and I'm in the middle building. So we're it's the same floor
area. There you
go.
Cool.
Yep.
It's great. So you've got an actual space that like people will come into, and then in terms of kind of looking out 5 years, do you see yourself doing that full time?
Yes.
Are you still going to be?
My goal is to do that full time. Yes.
Okay.
With the 3 boys that I have and my husband and our crazy life of chickens and animals and all kinds of stuff. I want to just be able to have the freedom to kind of be able to see clients, and I can also see them virtually.
Yeah.
The platform and things that I use, I can certainly do that. But I do like the face-to-face. That's why I was looking for an office space. But like I said, I wouldn't trade the 20 years of nursing that I have done. I knew from the get-go when I was little that that's what I wanted to do. But I think when when my husband got that diagnosis, there was just something else building to me. There was something different. What else can I do? And I also have 3 boys that, like I said, are big athletes. And, it's important to them, the nutrition and how they take care of their body and things like that, that I want to be able to kind of show them, these types of things too. But also, this was a hard thing for me to do while working and juggling mom tasks and go to school and do all of the things. So them watching me was a big thing, just to kind of show, like, if you have a dream, go for it. Like, you can do this. Yeah.
So speaking of being a chicken mom and an actual mom, and what do you do outside of work?
Chauffeur my children around all the time. 3 boys. They are travel baseball, basketball. We're constantly on the go.
It's basketball season now, right?
It is basketball season now. Yes, my husband coaches 2 of the 3.
So he's gone.
Well, we're together. We'll go together.
I wasn't sure with 3 different kids.
We can stagger it. The youngest one's only 7. The older 2 made their middle school team, so we can kind of stagger a little bit. But the baseball season's a little bit more challenging. So we are a huge competitive family. But like I said, we live on a farm, so we have some chickens, and this was my first year really putting together a big garden, which was really cool to let the boys kind of facilitate and help and go out.
It takes a lot of work.
It does, and sometimes I just don't know how I do all of these things. I'm like, everybody has 24 hours in a day. How do I get all of this stuff done?
Yeah, but you get it done.
I do.
Yeah.
But we're big family people. We love our families. Both of our families are close, so we always have family get-togethers and things like that. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said chickens. What other animals do you have?
So there are cows on the property.
Okay.
We have 2 dogs and we have 2 cats.
Wonderful.
It is a busy life.
So with the cows, milk cows?
No, they are meat cows.
Okay.
So they are not ours. There's an owner that owns them, but they are just as much family to us. And so our boys have gotten to feed them while they've been away. We've gotten to see baby calves being born.
Aww.
So just having that experience for them has been amazing. It's really kind of neat.
I was going to say, milking cows, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
No.
that's a whole nother thing.
Job, yeah.
I'm happy to watch them graze or bring them in at the end and feed them, and it's neat.
How many acres are you guys on?
There is, I think, 55 acres on the entire.
I have 3 acres, so a cow probably isn't going to be.
Probably not.
It
would probably take up the whole. Yes.
Oh yeah,
the little cute. Yeah, the little.
Fluffy
I don't know
cows.
which ones they're called. Yeah. The boys do want to get goats, but I'm like, I'm not sure I can take that on just yet.
I've heard goats are like little kids.
Yes.
Like they stay forever, like 2 years old.
Yeah.
I almost got some. I'm glad somebody else ended up adopting them before I got to them.
Yeah. I'm just like, you guys keep adding things for me to do here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what happens, right? They're like, I want a new fill in the blank.
Exactly.
I'll take care of it, Mom. Mm.
Yeah. In our busy time that we have to do extra stuff. Yeah.
That's right. Do you guys ever go on vacations?
We do. We travel a lot.
Wherever they travel for
baseball.
Yeah.
We have done, my husband's brother lived in Washington State. So the boys actually took their first flight there this January. So we went out there. We've been to Jackson Hole. We've kind of done a couple things. We love long car rides. We'll do the East Coast a couple times. So it's fun, a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in terms of just kind of wrapping it up, what is like a special message that you would share with the world?
Oh, what I would share with the world. Be your own advocate. Speak up for what you're feeling, what you believe in. I feel like in the world we live in today, we're kind of just tight-lipped. We don't really want to speak up, whether or not we're afraid of that. But in terms of our health, like I said before, we have one life to live, and we want to fulfill that life in a good way. And just be your own advocate. Speak up for what you want. Speak up for what you believe in.
That's a good message. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Yes, this was a great experience.